Hi, welcome to Chad Silversmithing. First, thanks for coming, and if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button before you leave or leaving a comment, that helps get my channel promoted, so I would appreciate it if you could do that. Thank you in advance for that. When I've been on a long spree of making stuff, my table tends to get really messy that I work at, and underneath the pile of tools that I have scattered everywhere, I usually will find all sorts of scrap pieces of silver, cut off ends of wire and things like that that I've left over from previous projects. And so I thought today I would make some pieces out of some stuff that I found on the table today. And it's going to be primarily using wire ends and what I can do with them and come up with some different ideas for it. So I got 3 different designs I drew up, and I think I found enough scrap on my table to make them. So we'll see if we can do that. But before we get started, I wanted to thank my YouTube subscribers here. We're getting close to 5,000. Thank you so much. I appreciate you promoting me and watching my videos, and also the different ways that you've supported the channel financially. I appreciate those too. I also wanted to thank my patrons over on Patreon. I have quite a few new ones, and I'm really pleased to see the community over there growing. We're about up to almost 50 people, I think, and there's a lot of idea sharing going on over there, and I really love that. That's kind of one of my primary goals here, is to help people find ideas and learn new techniques and stuff. So thank you guys for that. I'm really glad to be a part of that. If you're interested in that, you should check out the video description down below the video. There's links to my Patreon site as well as some details about it, and links to my merch site, my website where you can buy jewelry, and also, let's see, what else is there? Oh, the Buy Me a Coffee link if you just haven't. So with all that self-promotion out of the way, let's get started. Okay, please note the careful product placement in order to promote my merch. Honestly though, I do use this thing quite a bit now. I never used to sketch things out, but it has turned out to really help me to improve my skills. I like how it has, it's graph paper, but it doesn't have lines on it, so it's got just the corner dots, and that works out pretty well. So there's a pile of scrap that I have, and I went ahead, I made a bale for this one, and I made that out of scrap pieces that I found on the table as well, just to save time since we're doing 3 projects. If you want to see how I make those kind of bales, I have a video for that. I'll put a link right up there for you. That's a really useful kind of generic general bale that I use for a lot of stuff. I also have another bale video if you want to see some unique, kind of unusual ones. I'm probably going to do a series of those videos because people really seem to like that. So I'll keep looking for interesting bale styles and show you how to make them. This one, I got this stuff here, and it made me think of this ring I saw somewhere online that had a square like this. It was kind of wavy, and then it had some little wires going in between the square, and it was just mounted on a band. And I thought that would be a cool use for some of this. This is what this is. I think it's 10. It might be 12 gauge wire that I rolled out to make it flat on one side. So I think I got enough to do the edges of this with that. I bet I could make that look all right. I forgot I'm going to have to find a piece of scrap for the band too. I think I did see another piece like this somewhere around. I'll look for it off camera. But I'll find that. We'll use that for the band. But I got tons of little pieces of 18 gauge here and some 14 gauge round wire, as well as looks like I have, what's this here? That's some little skinny square wire. I don't know if I need that or not, but yeah, I think we got enough stuff to do this. For this, I'll use some of this, maybe this piece of square wire. I think I'll use the square wire. No? Yes? No. Oh, that's that. That's flattened square stuff. I don't think I want to use it. Well, I could use it for the outline of this. Maybe I'll do that. And then these little wires sticking out, kind of looks like a circuit board. This I saw somewhere online too, something similar to that. I kind of I have some pieces of 14 gauge square that I think would work well for the little projecting things. And for the little ends, I'll probably just melt some of these into balls and then pound them flat. Third, I was going to make a pair of earrings, and I think I'm just going to do a little circle out of 18, I guess, and maybe a big circle for each one out of 14 gauge round. I think I probably have enough there. If not, if I scrounge a little more, I'll find some more in it. But and then use 18 gauge for the little wires that swirl around. So, but yeah, I think we should be able to do those. So I think let's start with the ring and see if we can get that made. I got this thing. It's called a miter vise jig, and it allows you to get nice 45s by clamping your wire in there and then filing along the edge. Let's figure out about how big we want this to be. I didn't draw it very square here, so I'm just going to arbitrarily choose which side I want to use as the actual size. One of the things I do sometimes in order to see the marks I make is use a little Sharpie and then scratch a line through it. It's easier to see the mark. So we'll start about right there and we'll go in that way. And then we'll start about there, go in that way. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off some of this just by snipping it off, so I don't have to file the entire length off there. But now I can just slide it up in this little slot here. I didn't know these things existed until recently. I really like it. Everybody I talk to who has one likes it too, so it makes getting things nice angles easier. They have a nicer model too. Mine just has the 45 and the 90-degree angles. They make some with 60-degree angles too. Let's stick that a little closer. Okay. And then I'm just going to snip this off right there. Should be able to just line this one up with that. Okay. A nice clean 45 it gives you. So I'm going to do that 3 more times, but you don't have to watch me do it. So I've filed a bunch of those, well, 4 of them anyway. Let's see how they look. It's pretty good to me. Generally a lot better than I could do just by eyeballing it. Okay, I'm going to solder those together next. If you've never been to my channel, I use hard silver sheet solder for most everything, and I use some spray-on flux called My-T-Flux. So let's set this off to the side there. One of the things you'll notice about me is I do pick soldering for most things. I find it's an easy way to get solder placed precisely where you want it and in the amount that you want. And when I time it right, which I didn't on that one, you get the metal just to the right temperature, it just jumps right over. So. I have a tendency to jump the gun sometimes. That one was pretty close. That one was timed well. Alright, smear this out a little bit. While I was looking for them through the pile of tools on my table, I found a piece of this. It looks to be about 8 gauge half round. It was just buried under there, so I will use that for band. This one. So that solves that problem. But what I wanted the nail making pliers for was I was going to give this some waves here. So I was thinking kind of bend it a bit like that. Maybe bend it a little bit like this. Give it some interesting shape. I got a bunch of these pieces of 18 gauge wire that I can use. Well, I'm just going to cut a bunch of random sized pieces and we'll kind of place them. I'm going to sweat a little solder on the wires and then place them, and then I'll heat it till it flows. See how that works. We'll pick up a little extra solder in case I need to add some. Sure everything's attached there. I think it is. I'm going to snip off the excess there. Let's make a band for this. Okay, I made a little band out of that and I filed it flat on the top. Where I wanted to attach it, there's a wire from the previous soldering, and so I just cut kind of a notch up into the band a little bit so it would sit down flat. Now we'll just pick solder on either corner there. like we got a good seam on there, I think. I'm going to let that pickle and we'll start to work on the next one. Let's do the pendant here. Like I said, I've already got a bail made for it in advance. For this, we can use a little geometry. Isn't that exciting? So, make sure we got enough of this. Let's figure out the diameter of this. Looks like 37, or let's see, 10, 20, 27 millimeters. So if we go 27 millimeters, pi times diameter equals circumference, so and we got 2 decimal places. 83.78 millimeters. Let's call it 84 millimeters. About. Okay, we should make some little balls. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's take a piece of this scrap here. Let's go make them about that big. I always make a few extra when I'm doing stuff like this because inevitably I'll mess one up or I'll drop one on the floor and I won't be able to find it. So I typically try to have spares. Okay. You always want to wait until they turn black before you pick them up with tweezers because you can squish them. You want to squish your balls. Except now we're going to squish our balls because I want them to be little flat balls. So I have a tendency when I'm pounding things flat for them to go flying elsewhere. And so sometimes I'll put these on the pad here, or not the pad, I should say, the little anvil that I have. I usually use Scotch tape, but I couldn't locate any just now, so let's tape those down. It'll at least keep them from shooting across the room, so then we can just go ahead and we got some flatter balls. Okay. So basically we need to solder a piece to each of the 6 balls, right? I actually have a nice 45-degree right here for one of these bends. We need 1, 2, 3 straight ones first. Let's do those real quick to get those out of the way. I'm just going to keep making the angles for these, so I'll be right back. Got those relatively lined up. Let's flex those and see if we can make those little L shapes. let's start with the big one. Okay, let's see if I can't get that lined up like that on the soldering pad. Sticks up a little more than it does on the drawing, but I kind of like that. Got everything pretty lined up okay. Kind of thinking I might hang it diagonally. I kind of like it diagonally like that. That makes it more fun. Here's a little piece of 16. I knew I had to have a piece laying around somewhere. I think I'm going to use that for my my little loop. Alright, there's my little 16 gauge loop. Let's solder that closed. I'm going to pop this over this and then get these guys to come together, and we'll just pick solder that closed. These kind of bales, you got to kind of bend them inwards towards each other so they're touching again. This is one of those few times where you don't have to heat the entire piece, we just need to heat the bale because that's all that I want to solder. So. Let's throw that in the pickle for a while. And I'm going to go have a snack. Come back and do those earrings. Okay, now it's time to make the earrings. So, I found this piece of wire over here that already has a couple of little loops. If you look at the earring design, it's going to have a circle in the middle, a circle on the outside with just spirals coming off of it. So I thought I'd use these for the central loop, since I must have been making these for something else. But Well, let's do the diameter thing. I kind of like the size of those, so let's, although these rings I made are a little bit smaller than those, well, maybe not. 908 for each of them. Here's a piece. Since I'm starting at 10 there. There. I have to unroll this and see if I got a long enough piece. If not, I'll have to scrounge some more. Ha 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 ha, it's just barely long enough. Pretty flat. Okay, let's find one of the circles here. So I think the best way to get symmetrical spirals probably would be to solder 4 wires to the center circle and then kind of spiral them outwards. I use the Dremel to smooth those a little bit more, but really what I'm going to do now is just kind of bend these into spirals. Maybe you could call these hurricane earrings or galaxy earrings. Kind of have a spiral galaxy kind of look to them. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and flux it and then solder it. Make a little jump ring out of some of this. This is 20 gauge, I think. I actually take to make some good little tiny jump rings for when you're doing earrings. I'll take a piece of 14 gauge wire and one of these little pieces of 20, and I'll just wrap it around there a few times. I kind of like these. I'll pickle that, and I'll make the other one, pickle that one too, and then I'll polish all of those pieces up, and I'll show you what they look like at the end. So I'll throw some ear wires on here too. By the way, if you want to see how to make your own ear wires, I have a good video for that. Okay, ring first off. That came out kind of cool. It's a little bit smaller than I was shooting for, but that's alright. Somebody will buy it. This little circuit board looking one. I think that's pretty cool. I lost a hold of this one in the polisher and it got a little bent up, so I had to do a little manual bending to get it back into shape. Alright, and then these guys I think came out very nice. Those are fun. Very swirly. Alright, I'll take better pictures and put them at the end. Oh my gosh, look at my hair. Okay, well I hope you enjoyed the 3 scrap pieces that we made. I find that sometimes those little pieces of scrap really work out well for some of the designs I've come up with. Just throwing stuff together ends up becoming a kind of a cool piece, and I'll end up making it again not from scrap. So Either way, thanks for coming. Hit the like button if you wouldn't mind, and leave a comment, and check out the video description for various relevant links. Thanks again. Happy silversmithing. Take care.